Learn how to receive to play forward with pressure behind.
Welcome everyone. Now, after we released the 1v1 pressure behind video, I was inundated with messages, but they were all based around a similar theme and similar questions. Now, when I put these videos together, we actually have a wide range of people feeding back. So we get parents, we get coaches, we get players of all ages and abilities. But after that particular video, it was mainly coaches that were getting in touch, asking specifically for a session that incorporated all the 1v1 pressure behind techniques, but within one exercise. Now, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is for coaches and players to really practice defender behind and pressure behind within these 1v1 moments and within these 1v1 exercises. If you look at the top level, Champions League, Premier League, internationally, over 65% of the time players are pressed from behind. So on this, let's jump into the session then.
Now, football is spontaneous and unpredictable, and we have to practice this organised chaos within technical exercises. So we've put together an exercise to incorporate all of the attributes required as part of that decision-making process to play forward. Okay, so the setup is 2 lines with a minimum of 5 players, and it can be one or multiple groups, and the distance should be 10 to 15 yards long. Now, the process, really simple. When you pass into the middle, you go into the middle. Pass to the outside, go to the outside. And it just works on a continual rotation. So when you've received in the middle, you always go back to the original line that you started. So let's break down the detail in order, and we'll firstly focus on passing techniques. Now, if the ball's bouncing or bobbling, then you receive that instant feedback to know that you've either struck slightly underneath or above the middle of the ball. So instead, clean strikes inside of the foot, through the middle of the ball, fast ground passes hitting every blade of grass on the way through, and fast fibres in terms of intensity, speed of every technique, quick to get in and out of the middle. Next up, focus on the angle creation. Now, body position of open shoulders and open hips is really important, but creating the angle, that's a bigger priority because it impacts both the individual technique and the collective principles. So come off that straight line, and in terms of timing, be on the angle when the player in possession gets the head up to play forward. This angle, it allows you to play forward in one touch, whereas a straight line doesn't. And if we look here in a game, when a player passes forward, then the straight line limits that receiver's vision to 180 degrees, whereas the angle creation, that allows you to see at least 3/4 of the pitch. Now, if an opponent presses you, then it opens up both the third man combination or the line breaking pass to progress the ball. So angles, they're not explosive and dynamic, and instead they're what we call arrival movement. So as soon as the player's first touch is forward and the head's up, angle wide enough so you can see both lines, and you've got that option to either go back foot or orientate your body so you could play forward in one touch. Now, once the passes are consistent and the timing of the angles are applied, focus on the receiving element. Now, emphasize the passes to be precise and into the back foot, and how cleanly can you receive, opening the hips and shoulders and snap into that turn. Manipulate the ball forward, so tight touches, always in control. If the ball goes too far, like this, then you're giving the opponent a chance in a game. There's a world of difference in controlling and turning. So here, the red line shows it best. So the first touch has to open and manipulate forward, not backwards, not sideways, so you then need 3 touches, face forward in one motion. Have a look here at Jorginho, whose hips and shoulders, they're facing the opponent's goal in one touch and in a millisecond. Now, the opponents here are pressing quickly, but at the elite level, the top receivers are turning in the smallest of spaces. Time your pressure wrong and they'll play through you. Now, the reality is that every pass in a game won't be perfect and precise, so layer in improvisation. So it's the same principles. How do you get your shoulders facing forward as fast as possible if the ball comes behind you, to the front foot, to the side? So play passes in at random angles and force the receiver to adapt with that unpredictability and unorthodox techniques. Next, we'll develop those moments when you haven't been able to find that half yard to turn, and instead you receive in straight lines, so you press from behind. Now, use the momentum of the pass and that tight pressure to turn in one touch. And the 3 variations are with the inside, the outside, or off the drag. So take the ball off the line that it travels with the inside of the foot. Soft touch receiving, so not too heavy where the opponent would recover, not too shallow where you don't outplay the pressure, And it's got to be with enough weight so it's not under your feet and then you need 2 or 3 touches. So you're looking for that 45-degree angle, turn around the corner so you break the pressure in 1 touch. And don't go too big and too open with your body shape and move really early so the opponent or the pressure knows where you're going. Instead, hide the intent as late as possible so your hips and shoulders stay flat and square, no body language, and then open and close the ankle as late as you can, showing that disguises a fake pass or a fake set. Now the same principles apply but with the outside of the foot, so sharp angles to play forward, touch can't be too heavy so you lose control, and don't go side on like this so you become predictable. And then the final turn is the drag, so inside or the sole of the foot, drag the ball off the line it travels, rotating those hips all in 1 turn to face forward. And as on all of these moves, make sure you're alternating with both feet. And the final principle to outplay pressure behind comes in combinations. Now these come in many different forms depending on the position, but principally set the ball, pivot to turn your hips and face forward, and then move laterally to open up a small channel and receive that bounce pass. Now the movement here can go laterally backwards and away or across and in front. And that concludes the video on receiving to play forward. For more webinars, books and sessions, please visit www.trainingspecific.com.